it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. And we are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question. And this is really kind of simple. It's just, how do you handle people who are mean? They're just rude. They just say some very mean things to you that you feel are very cold or callous. They're just not acceptable. They're the haters of the world, and they're just kind of unloading a lot of fight sort of, I just call it, you know, the invitation to fight. They're always looking to challenge others. They're looking for a spat. They're trying to get your goat. They're the button pushers. They're just kind of mean. And the mean people who try to inflict their wounds, their unhappiness onto you, you know, needs to have no or limited place in your life. Mean people who just say hurtful things. They do hurtful things. They engage in name calling. They engage in bantering. They engage in minimizing. Oftentimes trying to make you feeble, weak, meek. And these things oftentimes will hit to the core of people so deep that they give in to the insult. They give in to the meanness. In other words, the mean actions tend to reverberate and stay within the body, stay within you physically, emotionally. Your body is churning it and digesting it like a bowl of oatmeal. It's just becoming, you know, it stays in your gut. It stays with you, the meanness. And there is this feeling of then, you know, trying to cope with this by isolating. So isolating oneself, i.e., you know, pouting, sitting in one's room, spending time alone, looking out the window, feeling bad, is oftentimes the next part of the routine when you're around people who are mean. So it's like the mean routine, the people who are mean, and then the routine that is created from that. So these self-isolating, sitting alone, feeling bad, and not really thinking for themselves. They're just feeling, you know, a sense of hopelessness or lost, and they don't know who to turn to. And this can happen at different stages of one's life. So as you can imagine, if it happens to you when you're a child and you're dealing with mean people, oftentimes your brain is not developed enough. We as humans take years to develop. I mean, it's amazing when you think of, you know, other animals and how they mature so much more quickly. You know, to be human is such a complex experience, and really your brain does not fully develop. I mean, until you've really gotten some time and some life experiences, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you mature. So depending on where you are at in that timeline, how do you deal with people who are mean? Well, look at the tendency to immediately isolate or to feel hopeless or to feel unlovable, unloved, to hit at that core of shame. You know, John Bradshaw, Healing the Shame That Binds You. Oftentimes, you know, physical abuse is at the hands of people who are mean, meaning that they are rude, callous, insultory. They're trying to get to the core of you. In other words, it's not a friendly discussion. They're really trying to get you down. To get you down is their end goal. It's their vision for you. And so you can't live your life then as a coping mechanism. You can't have a vision of your life according to the vision that they have for you. So if we look at like very successful functioning families or functioning organizations, there's usually a mission statement. A mission statement is like a direction, a vision for that company. It's our guiding principles. It's what we stand for. It's who we are. It's our brand. It's how we then, from that core foundation, we make all of our decisions and create our culture. So if it's a strength-based culture, a support culture, it's going to be a lot more flourishing, happy. People are going to self-actualize. They're going to be happy. They're going to be in their right place. You know, organizational studies have shown, you know, do you have your employees at the right place of the bus? Meaning, in other words, are people in manners of employment that are best suited to their abilities. So that's like a loving, supportive environment. Now, a hostile individual, a mean person, is engaging in hostility. And so realize that oftentimes it's not a reflection of you, but you are really just kind of in the firing range. You are in proximity. You are around this just random fire. You're around this hostility, this anger, which just tends to come out of them, and then they project it onto you. So being inferior, being less than, receiving the, whatever it is, the criticism, I think is a good word to describe it as in a nutshell. The hostile remarks, meaning that they're very intimidating. There's a feeling of intimidation with which they're trying to push themselves or force, and you then have to become a counterforce to their force. So you're engaging energetically. So when you are up against that, you'll literally feel that you're up against this force and that you are having a counterforce, and that suddenly you're on shaky ground. So do not allow mean people to place you on shaky ground emotionally. Stake your ground, spread your feet, hold your ground, and realize that those people who are trying to topple you over emotionally, it is because that's how they derive their feeling of confidence and being in control and being in power. They have an insatiable need to do this. Just like Sam Vatican states, when you talk about insatiable, the word means not able to be satisfied, not able to be satiated. It's like a hunger that is never satisfied, a thirst that cannot be quenched. That is their need, and so that's what drives them. That might not drive you. That certainly does not drive me. That is not my chemistry. That is not my personality at all. I'm very much to the flip side of that. And so as a way for you to handle it is to realize that you need to step away from the hostility. And the word that I love is to know and really understand in psychological circles is the hostility or anger or rage reaction from this individual is disproportionate to the matter at hand. In other words, they're, flying off the ceiling and you're like, we're just like looking for the keys, and then they're calling you names because you're trying to calm them down. So this might, you might all be able to relay your own experience of being up against someone who is mean, intimidating, or hostile. So you do not need to enter into the boxing ring. You do not need to enter into energetically with them. Just drop it. Do not engage. Just do not react. You just do not engage. Let them, go on their mean trip. Let them go on, be intimidating. Do not be intimidated though. Just realize that that's who's them. And especially nowadays, it's like, there's such a catchy phrase like, that's so boss. Well, does boss mean leader, or does boss mean intimidating and it's all about me? You have to understand what that means and just look at a way for you to then stop metabolizing their anger. You don't want to internalize it and then metabolize it and then have you digest it as like, I'm living in fear around this person, and I'm living in fight or flight, and I'm living by the hormones of stress, the cortisol, the adrenals are like, are on fire. Like, that is not a good high stress way to live. You can study, until you're blue in the face, is that, stress is not healthy. Stress kills brain cells. Stress, is hard on the body. It is not a good space to live in. So it is okay to disengage from that stress and say, no, thank you. You can say, I need some alone time. I can handle this, or just don't react. Just keep, the lip zip, keep a tough, tight upper lip, and just carry on. You might want to have a relationship with this person. This might be a family member. This might be a colleague. But when you see these reactions that are disproportionate to the matter at hand, you can unequivocally, without a doubt, say, okay, I'm up against someone who has an anger issue. I don't need to inform them of this. I don't need to get them help. I don't need to make them happy. I don't need to help them, show them better ways of dealing and coping, because if you play with fire, you're going to get burned. So these people, this is just how they are. That's their personality composite. That's the composition. If they want to get help from themselves because they're suffering, God love them. But don't feel that you have to pass them the baton, the torch, and be like, just calm down. You don't, you don't want to engage with the mean, hostile intimidator. You want to disengage, step away, say no thank you, and, just politely, exit, because really there is no discussion with these people. It's a one-way, one-directional energy, which if you look at it energetically, it's just the anger, hostility, whatever it is that they're doing that makes you feel intimidated, afraid. That this is typified, and it's who they are, and just that's who they are. It's accepting it and loving it, for who they are, and just realizing that you need to separate your energy and your feelings. Do not metabolize, do not digest their negativity, their hostility, their meanness to you. And remember, it's not a reflection of you. It's just a reflection of this very, I just call it like high, strong energy. And then you're just trying to engage innocently with them. You're just trying to have a conversation, and they're going to say something mean to you, hurtful. And then you're going to walk away like a puppy dog with your tail, but, and then like you're embarrassed. So don't get into the embarrassment. Just, realize that these people need their space. Give it to them. And you'll know, kind of when they're on the brink, especially if you have engaged with these people frequently, try to kind of limit, that, but don't take it in, internalize it. And I'm sorry that you have to feel this way and go through this and have to experience this. There's all sorts of lessons and people and situations we're going to find yourself. And I'm sorry that you've had to come up so close up against this sort of, type of individual and experience. And, just realize it is not you, really, truly in your heart. And then try to begin to work on really getting yourself moving forward and elevating yourself to grow where you want to go despite this. So in other words, even though you feel like a part of you might be lost to this person, or wounded or hurt or scarred on a profound level, just realize that it has nothing to do with you, and you need to like really embrace yourself and be like, OMG, that was really weird, and say, God, I don't deserve that. Confide in that to yourself. Have an attachment with yourself. You really need to engage in self-attachment. So we talk about the recovery journal. In writing those first 3 pages of automatic writing, it's because you're developing a relationship, an attachment, and a love with yourself. So it's not narcissistic love, it is healthy attachment. So when we talk about attachment bond difficulties or attachment disorder in the Psychopath, like the book Martha Stout, she's talking about how these individuals have an attachment disorder. So they can't, attach to you in that way. There's going to be a problem. It's like a rope that's frayed, like it's like a connection that's severed. Like electrically, it's awry. You see this meanness. You see this coldness, something callous. So, and really in the psychopathic, it can seem very inhuman. So, I'm sorry you have had to see this, experience, feel this. It is not fun. It is not pleasant. But deal with it with these tools, you will. So realize also the tool of the recovery journal in developing an attachment within yourself. So really befriending yourself, like, hey guys, let's get out of here. You need to kind of work with yourself that way, and then get a routine for yourself where it's just like, you're too busy to be brought down by this. You've got too much going on that, it just doesn't rattle you. You get in your own mojo, you get your momentum back. Your appointment book that I recommend you keep for yourself, it's like, whoa, I've already got something plugged in the calendar, and I can't be walking around like a wounded soldier to my job, to my lunch date, to my doctor's appointment. Like, I'm going there strong, free. I can take care of this. Like, I can take care of this kid. I'm taking care of me. Like, I got me. You know, you really need to get that self-attachment going, and to really work on that and grow that. I definitely recommend the journaling, the 3 longhand pages, 3 full pages. You can double space and then do 6. You know, just doing that brain drain, just whatever comes out on the paper. You know, I love flowers, I love birds, I love sunshine, I want to be happy. You know, whatever it is that you write, it doesn't have to be pretty, colorful, flowerful, but just write it out, and you'll begin to get in a relationship with yourself, despite the meanness, despite the, you know, the rage. Like, you don't need to interact with that. Just walk away, and then, I'm sorry that this person cannot be an integral part of your life in specific levels. The mean people, it creates a block. It creates a problem. It's going to make it unpleasant. So that's just who they are. Give it to them. There you go. You know, that's your hostility. You do it with what you will. You know, let them be mean to various other people. Don't try to correct them. Don't try to be responsible for their evolution. Don't try to help calm them down. Again, it's like feeding a lion. You're just basically just going to get consumed in the process. So take it elsewhere, positively order direction thinking. Do not be a martyr. Do not get into self-negation, self-sacrifice, getting into that, you know, internal dialogue, the loop that keeps playing. I'm hurt, you know. Try to just be like, okay, you know, that was then, and then just cut, you know, begin to recondition and reprogram your emotions for the positive, so that you won't feel that that impingement or holding you back emotionally, psychologically, physically, in any way, or spiritually whatsoever. Definitely refresh yourself and move on, and don't feel guilty, don't feel bad, don't feel ashamed. It's your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope that these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.